What these prophets been bringing out is that we are the children of Israel and we got to change, all right? Because we've been lied to. Right. All right, give me one of my favorite scriptures, Judith 5. Let me show y'all what happened to us, all right, and why we think the way we think. So what happened to us in the 1600s?
Bring it out.
They brought us over here in slavery, right? We came over on slave ships. But what happened before that? The slaves that came over here on slave ships was prisoners of war. We wasn't just chilling in Africa and they came over and scooped us up. There were wars fought. We ruled over in Europe for 1,000 years. That's the history that they don't tell us. Places like Spain, right. Russia, those places we actually ruled. Right. We had kingdoms set up. We had kingdoms set up all throughout Africa. Right. We weren't the Africans, but we had kingdoms set up in Africa. All right, read that real quick. Get to the point, verse 20.
The book of Judith, chapter 5 and verse 20.
I want to show y'all what the other nations know about us. They know who we are. They know we the children of Israel. Read.
Now therefore, my Lord and Governor, if there be any error in this people, and they sin against their God, let us consider that this shall be their ruin.
Read that part again.
And they sin against their God.
So if we are in the midst of sin against God, because he brought the scripture out, sin is when you're breaking God's laws. It ain't got nothing to do with what we think is right and wrong. What God say. If we breaking what he said, if we not doing what he said to do, we in sin. Read it again.
And they sin against their God. Let us consider that this shall be their ruin.
If they sinning against their God, this is going to be their ruin. Why? Because he know the Lord don't deal with us when we're in the midst of sin. Hold that real quick. Romans 6 and 23. Because what happens when we sin? What happens when we sin, sis? Yeah, what happens when we do that? Do we get a blessing? No, we don't get no blessing when we sin. You got it? Listen up.
The book of Romans, chapter 6 and verse 23.
Check out the sign.
For the wages of sin is death.
The what?
The wages of sin is death.
The wages of sin is death. So everything you do in that body of yours that the Lord has loaned you, you got to pay for it in the end. You're going to eventually have to pay for it. Whether he start jacking you up now, or whether you think you're getting away with it and it all hits you later. You're going to have to pay for it. When you sin, the payment for that is death. All right, go back. So the other nations, they found out we got to keep these people in sin because the earth was created for us to rule in it. We ain't supposed to be sitting here, we ain't supposed to be equal to Deuteronomy 7 and 6. We ain't supposed to be equal to nobody. We ain't supposed to be nobody's slave. We ain't supposed to be working for nobody. We supposed to be the ruling class of people. That's what God created this earth for. He literally created this earth for us, for the children of Israel. Read that.
The book of Deuteronomy, chapter 7 and verse 6. For thou art an holy people unto the Lord thy God.
See, we were supposed to be a holy people. That's why Moses came down and gave us all them laws. Them laws separated us from everybody that was on the planet. Right. Everybody was doing the same thing. We was the only one doing something different. We was doing the right thing that God told us to do. They was following idols. They was looking at the sun and the moon and making gods out of them. They was watching the grass blow, making a god out of the wind. We the only one had the true understanding. Read that again.
For thou art an holy people unto the Lord thy God. The Lord thy God has chosen thee to be a special people unto himself, above all people that are upon the face of the earth.
Now, equal to all people.
Above all people that are upon the face of the earth.
even though we on the bottom of the barrel, we the last hired, first fired, we the poorest people, and our nation, our community is in shambles, God said, you're still above all people. All you got to do is come back to these laws. You got to come back to the laws, statutes, and commandments as an Israelite. Go back to Judith. Read.
The book of Judith, chapter 5 and verse 20. Now therefore, my Lord and Governor, if there be any error in this people,
if these people are in the midst of sin,
and they sin against their God, let us consider that this shall be their ruin, and let us go up, and we shall overcome them.
Psalms 83. So that's what they figured out. They figured out if we catch these people in sin, that's when we go get them. And then we keep them in sin. So once they finally got us, so put it together. If you know you discovered how to be the people, okay, when they in the midst of sin, that's when we can get them. And then we go and get them. Once we capture them, what do we have to do? We know they're God's people, so we can't kill them all. Huh? We got to keep them stupid. All right? So what they did was erase the knowledge of our nationality from us. So now we're calling ourselves. You ask 10 people what their nationality, 10 black people what their nationality is, they're gonna give you 10 different answers. Damn near. Oh, I'm African American. I'm Afro American. I'm Asiatic. I'm the original man. All right. So this is what they did. Listen.
The book of Psalms, chapter 83 and verse 2. For lo, thy enemies make a tumult.
So the enemies of God had a council. That's what a tumult is, a council.
And they that hate thee.
Oh. It said they that hate thee. So it's some people out here that hate God.
Bring it out.
Read.
And they that hate thee have lifted up the head.
They lifted up their head in pride, because what we just read, they found out how to beat us. They found out if we catch these people in sin, that's when we can go and take them down. Because remember, when you read this Bible, the Lord was actually on the battlefield with us going to war. We was unstoppable. We was an unstoppable force. You had people like King David. You had Samson. You had Joshua. We had mighty men. Right. All right? They couldn't stop us, but they found the secret. So that's when they lifted their heads up in pride. We know how to beat them now.
They have taken crafty counsel against thy people.
Read that again.
They have taken crafty counsel against thy people.
So what's crafty counsel? It's something similar to what you just said. We had to deceive them. We have to take crafty counsel. So once we catch them, okay, the first group, they know who they are. That second generation, we got to dumb them down so they don't know who they are. So we got to take all the books.
Bring it out.
We got to cover up the books. We got to take their books.
Right.
And we gotta cover up their heritage. Right. They tried to destroy the Bible before in the time of the Greeks, but the Lord just gave it back to us. So this time, what do? Go to First Maccabees 3 and 48. This is what they did. They can't destroy the book because when they destroyed it in the time of the Greeks. The Lord put it back on the spirit of Ezra and gave it back to us. All right. So this is their next plan. I'm laying their whole strategy out.
Bring it out.
The book of First Maccabees, chapter 3 and verse 48. And laid open the book of the law.
The book of the law is the Bible. When they found our book, when they got a hold to our book, what they do?
Wherein the heathen had sought to paint the likeness of their images.
So they put their images in our books. Where's that? The one with that? We got that one out here? That's what they're doing right now. They're putting their images in our books. They put our images. They whitewashed all the images that I told y'all about how we ruled over there in Europe. We got churches up in Spain, Russia, Germany, all those places, France, all those places that's ruled by so-called Caucasians now. They still got our churches up. They couldn't whitewash them all with black images on them.
They still got the black images.
Some of those churches are still up right now. They couldn't get rid of them all. All right, so they changed the images in our book. Let me ask you a question. This was the time of the Greeks. So the Greeks, that's a Caucasian, that's a white nation of people. If the people in the Bible was white already, why would they have to paint their images over?
Right.
Why wouldn't they just lie and say, oh, well, this is us? They had to paint the images over because those were black images in this book.
right.
This is our book. All right, go back to where I was at first. So that's one of the things that they did to deceive us. That's one of the crafty counsels that they took. All right? Read that again.
The book of Psalms, chapter 83 and verse 3. They have taken crafty counsel against thy people and consulted against thy hidden ones.
You're the hidden ones. Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans. You're the true Israelites. You're the people of the book. That's why when somebody come out and say I'm a Jew, Kanye came out and said it. Kyrie didn't even say it. He shared a link. He shared a link. And they gave him a bunch of backlash. You hear what I'm bringing out, brother? So I'm showing you. I'm showing you how they deceived us. Another way they deceived us. I'm glad he mentioned it. This right here.
Bring it up.
According to the Bible, Christ, a black man just like you and me. And I'm gonna get the description next. Go back to that Maccabees. This is what they did, bro. They changed the image of Christ. They changed the image of all our people. Matter of fact, let's talk about that crafty counsel. If you Google any biblical character,
Bring it out.
I bet you it's a white man gonna pop up.
Right.
Google Adam. Google Adam. They're gonna show you a naked man pointing his finger up with a white man in the air laying on a mess of naked bodies.
Right.
Let's go back to what I was bringing out. Psalms 83. Y'all see that? They got a Caucasian laying on a mess of naked bodies. Read that. Pick up where you left off.
The book of Psalms, chapter 83 and verse 3. They have taken crafty counsel against thy people.
So one of them crafty counsels was changing the images. Another one of those crafty counsels was setting their people up over there in our land after they took us into slavery. Read.
And consulted against thy people. Excuse me, against thy hidden ones.
We're the hidden ones because now we don't know our nationality. Our nationality changed every 10 years. In the 80s, we was, what was we in the 80s? Afro-Americans. Then then they came out with African Americans. Before that, it was black. Before that, it was Negro. Who the hell are we? They took crafty counsel against us. We the hidden ones. Read.
They have said, come and let us cut them off from being a nation.
We got to cut them off from being a nation. That's why when they caught us in sin, they kept us in sin. Read.
That the name of Israel may be no more in remembrance.
That's what they wanted to do. They wanted to erase us from knowing who we was. And that's why, that goes to your question, that's why they changed the image of Christ. They gave us this. Why they give us that? Because it's in us to search. It's in our spirit to search out, to reach out to the Father. It's in our spirit. So they knew they had to give us something. All right. That's why they took our book and they changed the doctrines. We practiced God's laws. They gave us Christianity to practice.
Bring it out.
You see what I'm saying? They had to take the laws away from us because they know if we keep the laws, it's over with for their kingdom. Sis, what's your name? Jamila. The reason the brother was bringing out why women dress the way they do. Go give me 2 Corinthians 5 and 72. Let me show you why our women dress that way. It was a plot because before the 70s. Before the 70s, all our sisters, they all wore dresses. You go back and look at a picture anytime, a picture of any time before the 70s, you're going to see sisters in dresses. Right. It wasn't common. If you go back in her time and tell her that one day women going to be walking around in pants, she'll look at you like you crazy.
Bring it out.
That was unheard of.
What is a nation? Nation is men leading by example. Nation is family.
strong in the Lord.